Before we begin, I want to warn you that this story contains mature themes. It deals with family relationships, personal boundaries, and infidelity. If these topics make you uncomfortable, you might want to stop watching now. I never thought one decision could flip my entire world upside down. But it did. And it all started with a secret I thought I could keep forever. That afternoon felt harmless at first. My parents were at work, and the house was quiet, too quiet. I wanted excitement. Something different. Something that made me feel alive. So, I invited Chase over. He wasn't just some guy. He was the guy, the one I couldn't stop thinking about. The one who made me feel like the most important person in the room. What happened next? Let's just say it was reckless. It was thrilling. And it was the kind of mistake you can't take back, no matter how much you wish you could. But what I didn't see coming, the part that still haunts me, was what my mom did when she found us. This isn't just a story about what happened that day. It's about everything that followed. The humiliation, the anger, and the secrets I never expected to uncover. Stay with me, because you won't believe how it ends. I guess before I get into what happened that day, I should tell you a little about me. Maybe then you'll understand why I made the choices I did, why I let things go as far as they did. I grew up in a house where everything had rules. Rules about what to wear, when to be home, how to speak, and even how to breathe, or at least, that's how it felt. My mom, Irene Ochoa, wasn't just strict. She was the kind of woman who believed discipline wasn't just a part of parenting, it was the whole job. She had schedules for everything. Dinner at 6. Chores done by 8. Homework checked by 9. And if you were even a minute late? You'd hear about it for days. My dad, Lachlan Kirk, was the opposite. Or maybe he wasn't. I'm not sure, because he was barely around long enough for me to figure him out. He worked late most nights and left early in the mornings. When he was home, he kept the TV loud and his conversations short. Sometimes, I'd sit next to him just hoping he'd notice me, but he never did. I think that's why I started acting out. It wasn't like I wanted to be bad. I just wanted to feel something other than invisible. At first, it was small things. Staying out later than I was supposed to. Sneaking out to hang with friends. Wearing makeup my mom wouldn't approve of and changing into outfits she'd hate the second I left the house. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. After all, it's not like I was hurting anyone. But the truth? I was hurting. I was lonely, and I was angry, and I didn't know how to make any of it stop. That's when I met Chase. He was everything I wasn't. Confident, laid back, and always smiling like nothing in the world could touch him. He didn't care about rules, and he didn't care about what people thought. From the moment we started talking, I felt it, the spark, the rush, the pull. He made me feel like I mattered, and I held on to that feeling like it was the only thing keeping me afloat. I'd catch myself staring at my reflection after we talked, wondering if I looked different. Prettier, maybe. Older. He made me feel like I could be someone else, someone who wasn't afraid to take risks or break rules. And for the first time, I wanted to be that girl. My mom hated Chase. She never came out and said it, but I could tell. It was in the way her eyes narrowed when his name came up. The way her voice got sharper, like she was already bracing for whatever trouble she thought he'd bring. She didn't trust me around him, and honestly, she had every reason not to. Irene had always been a force. She carried herself like she had the whole world figured out, and most of the time, it seemed like she did. But what she didn't realize, what she never took the time to see, was how badly I needed her to let go. Just a little. Just enough to let me breathe. Instead, she gripped tighter. She'd lecture me about priorities and respect. Remind me of all the things she'd given up to give me a better life. And when I'd push back, her voice would rise, her patience snapping in half. She wanted me to be perfect. I just wanted to be me. And my dad? He stayed out of it. Always. He let her handle the yelling and the rules. He let her handle me. Maybe he thought it was easier that way, or maybe he just didn't care enough to step in. Either way, it left me stuck. So, when Chase came along, he felt like an escape. A way out of the box my mom had built around me. With him, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel invisible. I felt free. And freedom was all I could think about that day when I let him in. I wasn't thinking about consequences. I wasn't thinking about what my mom would say, or what she'd do, if she found out. I was just thinking about him. If you're still here, I can already tell you're in for the rest of this story, and trust me, it only gets crazier from here. So before we go any further, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Why? Because stories like this don't just make you gasp, they make you think. And you won't want to miss what happens next. I remember standing in my parents' bedroom, holding those handcuffs, and feeling my heart race. Not from fear, but from excitement. Chase leaned in the doorway, arms crossed, wearing that smirk I'd already fallen way too hard for. "Your parents' bed," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Didn't think you had it in you." I rolled my eyes, but I was smiling too. "Who said we're doing anything in here?" His grin widened. "Oh, we're definitely doing something in here." I don't know why I didn't stop him. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, like I was the only person in the world. Or maybe I was just tired of always doing the right thing. Tired of hearing my mom's voice in my head, reminding me of every rule I was about to break. So I didn't stop him. I let him take the cuffs from my hands. I let him pull me toward the bed. And when he told me to lie down, I did. It was reckless. It was stupid. But it was also the first time I felt completely out of control, and I loved it. Chase didn't waste time. He snapped the cuffs around one wrist, then threaded them through the bars on the headboard before locking the other. "Too tight?" he asked, his lips barely an inch from mine. I shook my head. "Not even close." He smiled, and then his hands were on me, trailing down my arms, brushing over my stomach, making me forget how wrong it all was. But just as things started heating up, we heard it. The front door. I froze. My heart stopped. And for the first time, Chase looked scared too. "Was that?" "My mom," I whispered. We both turned to the bedroom door at the same time, but it was too late. Irene's voice hit like a thunderclap. "What the hell is going on in here?" The next few seconds were chaos. Chase scrambled off the bed so fast he nearly fell, grabbing his clothes as my mom lunged at him. I couldn't even move. I just lay there, handcuffed to the bed, completely exposed. I could hear them yelling, her voice sharp and furious, his voice panicked and defensive. Then footsteps. Fast ones. Down the stairs. The front door slamming shut. And then silence. For a moment, I thought maybe she'd leave. Go after him. But then I heard her footsteps coming back up the stairs, slow and deliberate. When she stepped into the room, she didn't say a word. She just stared at me, the disappointment in her eyes cutting deeper than anything she could have said. And then she spoke. "Well," she said, walking over to the bed. "Since you're so desperate to act like an adult, let's see how you handle the consequences." That's when I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't even look at her. My wrists still tugged against the cold metal cuffs, and my whole body felt like it was burning, like the shame was seeping out of my skin. Irene stood at the edge of the bed, arms crossed so tightly it looked like she was trying to hold herself together. Her breathing was heavy, uneven, but her eyes? Her eyes cut through me. "What the hell were you thinking, Grace?" Her voice didn't just carry anger, it carried something sharper. Something heavier. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but no words came out. Answer me, she snapped, her voice echoing off the walls. You thought this was funny? Thought this was some kind of game? Tears welled up in my eyes, but I blinked them back. Crying wasn't going to help. Not with her. She stepped closer, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. You're lying here, handcuffed to my bed, and you can't even explain yourself? I tried to sit up, forgetting I was still bound, and the cuffs rattled against the headboard. The sound made me flinch. I didn't think you'd be home yet, I finally managed, my voice barely more than a whisper. Her laugh was cold. Oh, so I should have given you more time? Should have texted first to make sure you and your little boyfriend were finished? Is that it? I shook my head quickly. No, Mom, I didn't mean don't. Her voice dropped, but somehow that was worse. It wasn't loud anymore, but it was sharp. Dangerous. Do you even understand what could have happened? What if your dad had come home first? What if it hadn't been me? The thought sent another wave of panic through me, but I didn't get the chance to respond. She was already pacing now, her heels tapping the floor like a countdown clock. I can't believe this. I can't believe you would do this, in my house. On my bed. She turned back to me suddenly, pointing. You couldn't go to his house? Or a hotel? No, that would have been too easy, right? Too mature. Her words felt like slaps. I wanted to crawl out of my skin. But then she stopped pacing, and the room fell silent. That's when I saw it, the look in her eyes. It wasn't just anger anymore. It was something else. Something I didn't recognize. And then she smiled. Not a warm smile. Not even a fake one. It was cold. Calculated. Fine, she said. You want to act grown? Let's see how grown you really are. I swallowed hard. What do you mean? She didn't answer. Instead, she bent down and pulled a box out from under the bed. At first, I didn't know what it was, but then she opened it, and my stomach dropped. Toys. Not the kind for kids. No, I said, shaking my head. Mom, come on, oh, don't you mom me now. She was already digging through the box, pulling out things I didn't even want to look at. You made this mess, Grace. Now you're going to deal with it. I tugged at the cuffs again, but they didn't budge. This isn't funny. She glanced at me. Who's laughing? I tried to keep my voice steady. Please, just let me go. But she didn't. She picked up something long and sleek, something with a motor, and set it on the bed next to me. Not until you learn a lesson. I shook my head harder. Mom, I'm sorry. I really am. It was a mistake, I wasn't thinking. Oh, I know you weren't thinking. She picked up the toy, inspecting it like she was trying to figure out how it worked. That's the problem. And now, you're going to think about it. You're going to think real hard. I couldn't stop the tears this time. Please, Mom. Don't do this. But she didn't stop. And as she turned the toy on, I realized something. She wasn't doing this because she hated me. She was doing it because she didn't know how else to reach me. That didn't make it any easier. Irene sat at the edge of the bed, the hum of the toy still lingering in the air. My wrists were free now, but I didn't move. I couldn't. My whole body felt frozen, embarrassed, angry, and confused all at once. For a moment, she just stared at me. Her expression wasn't hard anymore. It wasn't cold. It was something else. Something softer. Then she spoke. You think I don't get it, don't you? Her voice was quieter this time, but it still carried weight. You think I don't know what it's like to want something so badly that you lose your damn mind? I didn't answer. I didn't trust myself to speak. She leaned back against the headboard and let out a long breath. You think I was perfect at your age? That I had it all figured out? I blinked at her, unsure where this was going. Well, I wasn't, she said. Not even close. She reached down, picked up the toy box, and pushed it aside like it suddenly disgusted her. Then she looked at me again, her eyes darker now, heavy, like she was seeing something I couldn't. You don't know this, she said, but when I was 17, I did something stupid. Really stupid. And it almost ruined my life. I didn't say anything, but my ears perked up. I'd never heard her talk about her past before, not like this. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. His name was Axel. Axel Martinez. He was older, too old. But I didn't care. He made me feel special, like I was the only girl in the world. Sound familiar? I swallowed hard but stayed quiet. We snuck around for months, she continued. At first, it was exciting. I felt alive. Free. Just like you. Her gaze locked onto mine, and my stomach twisted. But freedom isn't always what it seems. She stood up and started pacing, her arms crossing over her chest. I got caught. My mom walked in on us, just like I walked in on you. Except she didn't yell. She didn't freak out. She just looked at me, looked right through me, and I knew. I knew I'd lost her respect. Her voice cracked, but she kept going. She didn't try to punish me. She just let me deal with the fallout. And trust me, there was fallout. She shook her head, like she was trying to shake the memory away. Axel didn't stick around. He ran the second things got messy. And me? I was left picking up the pieces. I wanted to say something, to ask what happened next. But she didn't stop. I thought I'd never recover from that, she said. But I did. I pulled myself together. I rebuilt my life. And then I met your dad. She paused. And then I almost lost him too. My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? She looked at me again, this time with tears in her eyes. I cheated on him. I froze. It was years ago, she said quickly, like she needed to get it out before the words burned her. I was lonely. He was always working, always gone. And I told myself it didn't matter, that it wasn't a big deal. But it was. It nearly destroyed us. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I almost destroyed us. I didn't know what to say. I'd never seen her like this, raw, open, and fragile. But we worked through it, she said, wiping her eyes. It wasn't easy, and it sure as hell wasn't pretty, but we made it. And I promised myself I'd never let my mistakes define me. She sat back down, her shoulders slumping like the weight of her words had drained her. That's why I did this today, she said, gesturing to the cuffs and the toys. Not to humiliate you. Not to hurt you. But to remind you what's at stake. Because I know where this path leads, Grace. I've been there. And I can't let you make the same mistakes I did. The room felt heavier than ever, but for the first time, I saw my mom differently, not as this untouchable force, but as someone who had fought her own battles. She looked at me one last time, her voice steady now. You don't have to be perfect. But you do have to be careful. And if you're not ready for this kind of life, this kind of mess, then don't invite it in. She stood up and walked toward the door, pausing just long enough to add one more thing. I won't always be here to clean up after you, Grace. So think about what you really want, before it's too late. And just like that, she was gone. The door closed, and I was alone. I didn't move. I couldn't. My body felt heavy, like every limb had turned to stone. My wrists were red where the cuffs had rubbed against my skin, but I barely noticed. All I could think about was what just happened, what my mom said, what she did, and what it all meant. The silence was deafening. I pulled my knees to my chest and buried my face in them, but it didn't help. The shame still clung to me, thick and suffocating. My stomach twisted as the memory replayed in my head. The cuffs. The box. Her words. What kind of person does that? What kind of person lets it happen? Tears burned in my eyes, but I bit them back. I didn't deserve to cry, not after what I'd done. What was I even thinking? Bringing Chase here, sneaking around like some stupid kid? I thought it made me mature, like I was finally in control of my own life. But sitting there, half naked and humiliated, all I felt was small. Pathetic. I wiped my eyes and stared at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. My mom's confession kept circling in my head, and no matter how hard I tried to push it away, it wouldn't leave. She cheated. I never would have guessed. My mom, the woman who lived her life by rules and routines, had done something just as reckless as me. Maybe even worse. But the part that stuck with me wasn't her mistake. It was the way she looked at me when she said it, like she wasn't proud of what she did, but she'd survived it. She made it through, and she wanted me to do the same. I hated her for what she did to me earlier, but a part of me understood why. She was scared I was heading down the same road she barely escaped. And maybe she was right. I thought about Chase. His smile. The way he made me feel like I was someone worth paying attention to. But was that real? Or was it just what I wanted to believe? He ran. The second my mom walked in, he didn't even look back. He bolted, left me there to deal with the fallout. What kind of guy does that? And what kind of girl lets him? I grabbed the blanket from the edge of the bed and pulled it around me, trying to shake off the cold creeping into my bones. I felt exposed. Vulnerable. Like everything I thought I knew about myself had just been ripped apart and scattered across the floor. For the first time, I questioned if I even knew what I wanted. Did I want freedom? Or did I just want attention? Was I ready for love? Or was I just looking for an escape? I closed my eyes and tried to picture my future. Not the one where I made reckless decisions and hoped for the best, but the one where I actually took control. The one where I didn't have to lie or sneak around to feel alive. Could I be that girl? Or was it too late? The sound of the front door opening snapped me out of my thoughts. My dad. He was home. Panic bubbled up in my chest, but I forced it down. I wasn't ready to face him, not yet. I stood up, wrapped the blanket tighter, and made my way to the bathroom. I needed to shower. To wash the day off my skin. But as I stood under the water, letting it burn away the shame, I couldn't stop the questions from coming. What would I say to Chase? What would I say to my mom? And how was I supposed to move forward when everything felt so broken? I stared at my phone for what felt like hours. Chase's name lit up the screen, 3 missed calls and a couple of texts that all said the same thing: I'm sorry. Call me. Sorry. That was it? After everything that happened, after leaving me there to deal with my mom alone, that's all he had to say? I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone across the room and let it shatter the way my trust in him had. But instead, I just stared at it, waiting for it to ring again. And it did. I let it buzz twice before I answered. What do you want? My voice came out colder than I expected, but I didn't care. Grace, listen, Chase said quickly, like he already knew I might hang up. I freaked out, okay? I wasn't thinking. You just ran, I snapped. He went silent, and for a second, I thought he might hang up. Part of me hoped he would. But then he spoke again. I messed up, he said softly. I know I did. But what was I supposed to do? She came at me, Grace. She had her hands on me before I could even, don't. My voice cracked. Don't make excuses. I heard him exhale on the other end. I'm not. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I clenched my jaw. And what about me, Chase? Did you stop for even 1 second to think about what you were leaving me with? Or did you just care about saving yourself? That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, but it sounded hollow. Do you have any idea what she did to me? Do you even care? Of course I care, he snapped, and for a second, it almost sounded real. I care about you, Grace. That's why I'm calling. I'm trying to fix this. You can't fix this. My voice dropped. Not this time. He went quiet again, but I didn't fill the silence. I let it hang there, heavy and sharp. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer. So, what does this mean? I swallowed hard. It means maybe this, us, was never as real as I thought it was. I hung up before he could answer. Downstairs, I could hear my parents talking. Their voices were low but sharp, words tumbling out faster than usual. I cracked the door open, just enough to hear. You think this is my fault? My mom's voice is angry, but not as sharp as earlier. I think she's acting out, my dad said. And maybe you pushing her so hard has something to do with it. Oh, so it's me now? I'm the problem? Where were you when all of this was happening, Lachlan? At work? Pretending none of it existed? His voice dropped, but I could still hear him. Don't turn this into a fight about me. My mom didn't back down. Maybe it should be about you. Maybe if you were around more, she wouldn't feel like she has to go looking